Hello, my name is Paula Deming, and in 2022, I played 287 different board games. I know that because I'm the kind of nerd who logs their gameplays. Now, 50 of those were games officially published in 2022, and I have narrowed down that list of 50 games to 10, my top 10 games of 2022. A real, honest-to-goodness, regular board game YouTube kind of video. It's not a parody, it's real. Weird, I know. I don't do videos like this very often, and one of the reasons is that I struggle with picking favorites of things. I don't just have analysis paralysis when I'm playing games, also when I'm thinking about them. And because I can't narrow anything down, here are some quick-fire honorable mentions, and if any of these buzzwords I'm about to shout at you pique your interest, you should check these games out. Tidal Blades Banner Festival, Area Majority, Trick Taking, Multiple Paths to Victory, Lacrimosa, Classic Feeling Point Salad Euro, Mozart is a Theme, beautiful production quality, Guild of Merchant Explorers, Map Exploration, Make a Cube Path, feels like a flippin' right, but isn't. Galileo Project, Combos, Engine Building, Space, Bright Colors, Dungeons, Dice, and Danger, Rollin' Right, super cute visuals, satisfying solo mode, Sea Salt and Paper, Set Collection, Bruno Cathala, gorgeous origami art, tense scoring, Dead Reckoning, Pirate 4X, craft card upgrades, drop cubes in a cool ship instead of rolling dice, Boop, abstract strategy with cats, wow. Okay, onto the real list. Before we dive into the actual top 10 list, I would like to tell you that this video is sponsored by Skillshare. What does that have to do with board games? Well, I use things I learned on Skillshare in every video I make, and I make videos about board games. Got 'em! Seriously though, I use things I learned in this enhanced voiceover audio and Adobe Audition from Scott Liu in every Things Get Dicey video. This comedy filmmaking, make your low budget videos 100% funnier from Amber S is gold. I'm also planning to check out videos for Instagram, tell an engaging story in less than a minute from Halis Narvez because I want my social media videos to be better. Skillshare isn't just about video and filmmaking. There are hundreds of career-focused classes, and what better time to explore those options than at the start of the new year? Don't be intimidated. Start small, find a topic that seems interesting to you, and let a Skillshare teacher guide you through it step by step. For example, I learned how to riffle shuffle, don't be mad, with a bridge, which I've never been able to do before because of this lesson. Check it out. The first 1,000 people to use the link in the description below will get a 1-month free trial of Skillshare. Thank you, Skillshare, for sponsoring this video, and thank you for watching me talk about it. Now, on to the top 10 list. Okay, on to the real list. Game number 10. I chose this one because of how much stupid fun it is. When I think back over the year and just consider how much I laughed with my friends while playing a game, the first game I think of is Sink or Swim. Sink or Swim is an app-driven co-op game where you and your teammates have to play specific cards in a specific way before time runs out, simulating a synchronized swim routine. The challenges start pretty simple and you think, okay, yeah, cool, we've got this. But then they get more and more complex and silly, and the next thing you know, you're gesturing wildly at your teammates because you aren't allowed to speak and collapsing in laughter when no one can tell what you're trying to communicate. Not that that happened to me. I should say that the first routine is a bit like a tutorial and the game really starts to shine once you get past that, which reminds me a lot of last year's Cuphead game. Game number 9 is a trick-taking game, and boy do I love trick-taking games. I grew up playing spades, and I feel like I've got trick-taking strategy figured out. So when I played Cat in the Box and I felt challenged by it and like I had to think really creatively while playing it, it made me kind of fall in love. If you're new to trick-taking, I don't know that this will be the game for you, but if you're looking for a trick-taking experience that feels elevated, you should check this one out. It's based on the idea of Schrodinger's cat, where if there's a cat in a box, you don't know if it's dead or alive in there, and so it could be anything. It could be dead or alive, it's both all at the same time. None of the suits in Cat in the Box are pre-assigned. You assign them as you play cards. Any card in your hand could be any suit, until it's claimed by someone. And boy, does that make my brain twist. Game number 8 kind of intimidated me when it first showed up at my house, and it's Oathsworn Into the Deepwood. It's a big game. The box weighed like 20 pounds or something before I punched it, and I have the standees version. It's an Ameritrash campaign game where you move around a map and chuck dice and try to kill monsters, but you're also making choices about how you respond to the narrative, and the story actually does change based on what you choose. I've played the first chapter twice and made different choices during the exploration mode, and the story was super different. And that's when I knew I was sold on this experience. I've played a fair number of dungeon crawler type games, and the combat system in this is really interesting with the way you play your cards for actions and the cooldown system for getting those cards back into your hand. The rule set is crunchy, but I think it's really fun. Game number 7 is Decorum. It's cooperative deduction with a campaign for 2 players and also different scenarios that can be played with 3 or 4. You're playing roommates passive-aggressively decorating your living space. So each player is assigned a specific scenario that needs to be achieved before they can be satisfied. And you only win the game once everyone is satisfied, much like in a real-life living situation. So it might be that I require a blue kitchen and no wall decorations, and my partner might require one of the rooms in the house to be blue. So when they make the kitchen blue, I'm all like, that's hideous, why would you do that? And they have to figure out how to get a blue room. And you have to figure out how to keep them from making the kitchen that blue room without saying the kitchen can't be blue. Until you get to a part of the game where you're allowed to give more specific feedback, which is helpful in moving things forward if you're kind of stuck. The player interaction in this game is just, it's so high, like it's way up there. It's so interactive and it's so fun. And I love deduction games. Speaking of deduction games, number 6 is another deduction game, Turing Machine. Now, if you don't like deduction, this is not the game for you. There's very little theme here. It is just straight up solve a puzzle about a number code. But I love solving that puzzle. The game is like an analog computer with these punch cards that let you test your theories about the number code you're trying to solve. So you might posit the third number in the code is less than 4, and you line that card up with another card, and the punched out holes line up to tell you yes or no about your theory. And you're trying to figure it all out before the other people playing the game. Honestly, even when other people get the answer before me, I just keep playing. I want to solve the puzzle for my own satisfaction, and with this game, that satisfaction is high. Game number 5 is one of my favorite overall gaming experiences I had all year long, and that's the My City Roll and Write. I played this game with Matthew Jude as we traveled on a train to Hungary after attending Essen, and it was such a fun and approachable campaign game. A legacy-style game that you can actually finish, like really easily. In this game, you roll dice to tell you what polyomino shapes you draw on your map, with different placement and scoring rules as you go through each chapter. I'm not going to go into too many of what those rules are because I don't want to spoil anything. And it's not like a heavy narrative legacy type game or anything like that. It's pretty abstract, but it's such a fun puzzle that is constantly changing as you go into each new chapter. And if you're like me and love polyomino tile laying type games, you're really gonna enjoy it. Also, I will say that I feel like the original My City has a runaway leader problem, but I think that the roll and write version totally fixes that. Game number 4 is Ready, Set, Bet, which is a party game by John D. Clare, who is one of my favorite designers. This game simulates betting on a horse race, and you can have one person rolling dice and moving the horses while everyone else places their bets, or you can use an app to do that for you, or you can play a version where people swap out being the one who is running the race, which actually I think is my favorite way to play. Every round you get new things to bet on and different player powers that add interest as the game goes on. So I'm going to tell you a story about when I first played this game. There was a group playing it before me, and they were raucous. And when it was my turn to play, I was like, look, I'm not going to be like those people were. I'm not going to shout and jump around. I'm going to play this like a calm, mature adult. So yeah, halfway through the first round, I was jumping up and down and shouting and cheering for the horses I'd bet on. I was totally swept away, and it surprised me. It's such a fun game, particularly if you have the right group who gets into it. Game number 3 is maybe a bit of a cheat because it was on Kickstarter in 2022, but may not be fulfilling until 2023. but it's just so dang good, I have to talk about it. It's Draft and Write Records from Inside Up Games. It is a flip and write, and it is so combo-tastic. You're putting together a band and taking it on tour, and you're drafting cards that let you mark off different areas on your sheet, like members of the band you're recruiting, promotional activities you're doing, tour plans, etc. And you have turns that go like, I mark this off, which gives me this bonus, which completes this role, which scores me this. You just have these massive turns, and it's so good and it's so fun. I cannot wait to play more of this. If you like flip and writes and games with combos, you're going to like this game. Game number 2, it is Sniper Elite, the board game from Rebellion Unplugged. A board game based on a video game that I've never played. And did I think it would be good? I was skeptical. But y'all, I like it so much. It's a hidden movement game set in World War II where a sniper is moving around the board trying to accomplish secret objectives while the other players are controlling units of enemy soldiers trying to find the sniper. The hidden movement in this is so fun and it works so well, and both sides are so tense the whole time. It's one of those games where each side thinks that the other side is overpowered, which to me is a sign of actually great game balance. The solo mode of this one is also really good. It's obviously different because there's no hidden movement really in the solo version. You can't hide your movement from yourself. But the basic mechanisms of this game are so strong that it's still tense and fun when you're playing against an AI opponent. The easiest game to put on this list was this number 1 spot. Hands down, my favorite game of 2022 is Planet Unknown. This is a game that I played and I could not stop thinking about. And when a game worms its way into my brain like that, that's how I really know that a game is good. So in Planet Unknown, you're placing polyomino tiles, again, I love them, on a planet board, terraforming that planet. Each tile has 2 different kinds of terrain with different symbols on them, which correspond with resource tracks that you bump up when you place those tiles. You move up these tracks and unlock special powers, scoring, and combos. Can you tell the kinds of things I like in games? Combos, polyomino tiles, deduction. You also score points in Planet Unknown based on player objectives and how well you filled in your planet board. It is such a fun puzzle with just all that satisfaction of filling in a board and having a big turn with different combos allowing you to bump up multiple tracks. And the game comes with so many different planet boards and corporation tracks. And I haven't yet felt the need to move on from the basic board. I'm still having so much fun with it, which says to me I have a lot of games left in this for me, and I'm super excited for them. So there you go, my top 10 games of 2022. I hope you enjoyed hearing me talk about these games. Let me know if you have any questions about any of them in the comments, and I will try to give you some good answers. Also, in the comments, let me know what your top games of the year were. And if you want to see me playing a lot of these games, you can watch me over on Twitch, where I live stream games multiple times a week on my channel, twitch.tv/Paula Deming, and also on twitch.tv/WatchItPlayed. That is where I played a lot of these games that ended up being on my top 10 list. Links in the description below. I don't do a lot of this style of board game content, but who knows? Maybe in 2023 I'll do a little bit more of it. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate all of you. All right, bye. Meow. Meow for us. Are you sleepy? Meow. Meow. With cats. All right, you can go. Thank you.